Hi, and welcome to today's adventure, where we take on leather crafting. We don't know anything about leather crafting, we've only seen a few videos here and there, so we decided to jump in with a small project. Here I am drawing out an ID holder. Mine broke for work, and I figured this could be a very simple project to start with. Once I had the patterns drawn out, I simply just cut out those pieces onto some leather. This piece of plastic was just from a shower head that we recently replaced. Recycling materials is always a good idea if you can do it. Double checking that everything fits okay. Finishing the edges is definitely tricky. It's something I'm going to have to practice some more for sure. The leather itself was kind of tricky. I thought I punched through it with a few hits, but it barely poked out of the other end. It was tricky to get used to how much force to use. Sewing is definitely another aspect that I need to work on. Even though the stitching itself is easy, it still took some time to get used to. The problem I kept running into is that I kept catching the string every time I kept passing it through the hole. But as I went on, I got a little bit better. Since this is our first project, we still don't have all the materials we need for leather crafting. So here I'm using water instead of what you would normally use for the edges. But in the future, I'll make sure to use the correct stuff. Finished product, along with my lanyard. So for our second small project, a little bit bigger, a little more ambitious, a wallet. This pattern we found online. Since this pattern was printed, all we had to do was cut it out. However, we wanted to add some rigidity to it, so we went ahead and redid them on some poster board, just in case we want to reuse these stencils again in the future. The leather we have is a bag of scraps that we picked up at the local craft store. Fortunately, it has large sizes in there, so it's perfect for what we need it for. This glue up was relatively simple. However, I think I would need to change the order in the future. You'll see soon why that is. As the pieces come together, it's definitely taking shape. However, the edges and sewing still come next. Punching through all these layers of leather was a little bit tougher than the ID. However, I was able to do it, but I do need to buy the correct hammer. This hammer will damage the tool if I keep using it. This sewing process for the wallet was very similar to the ID holder, but it went faster once I started using the awl that you see there. It allowed me to poke a hole big enough for the needle to get through. It helped the needles not catch the string as it was passing through the holes. Overall, for it being our first leather projects, it didn't turn out so bad. As you can see here, I probably should have changed the order of the stitching. The front panel needed to be glued together and then stitched, so that way it would be held securely and not punch through to the back panel as you see here. However, since this is the first project, it's all learning process. We also wanted to take the time to learn how to use veg tan, so I bought these little pieces to test on. Here we're going to test our stamp, see how it holds on the leather. Playing around with the amount of swings to figure out what needed to be done to use the stamp effectively was pretty simple. In the end, simple hand pressure worked just fine. We also tried some stamps that came with the tools. They come in all different shapes and sizes and used for different things. I'll have to take the time to learn to use each one. Starting with the scroll saw. It's actually quite easy to use. Playing with the depth is also not that difficult. However, it will take some practice. The stamps, however, are more straightforward.